Okay, so my name is Whitney Kiles, and I will be presenting to you today Lexis Plus. Essentially, my role at your law firm is to make sure that you feel completely comfortable with searching on the Lexis tools within your firm subscription. You might have already spoken to my colleague, Jennifer Durkin. She is another person that works in the firm for that same purpose. And then another person on your account team is Shannon. She's the LexisNexis client manager, and she can assist you with questions as well. And so at the end of this webinar session, I will send a follow-up email with all of our contact information, as well as some highlights from today's session and the recording. So when you first log online to Lexis, you might be brought to the traditional homepage that looks like this. And so if you want to access Lexis Plus, what you want to do is click on these dots up here at the top. This is your product menu, and this will house all the additional Lexis products within the firm subscription. So I do encourage you to click on this and see what's all available to you. Now, in order to access Lexis Plus, you'll see the option here. Once you click on it, it will bring you to the Lexis Plus homepage. Now, the main difference between Lexis Plus and Lexis is Lexis Plus will still have the traditional research, such as your case law, your statutes, but it now incorporates analytics. It also incorporates transaction-based materials, and it also incorporates your Law 360. And so once you're on the homepage, you'll notice that your different research experience modules are here on the side. Now, if you're looking for primary law, secondary law, or if you want to search all the content within Lexis Plus, then you want to click on the legal research module.
Sorry, the wrong button.
Oh, okay. If you are only looking for transaction-based materials, really quick, let me mute everybody again. Okay, sorry about that. If you are a transaction-based attorney, and let's say you're more so interested in practice notes, clauses, templates, things of that nature, then you want to start your research in practical guidance. If you're looking for litigation analytics, we have a module for that. If you want to upload a brief, it could be your brief or opposing counsel's brief, and you want to get case law recommendations as well as perform other administrative materials with that brief, then brief analysis is the module you want to start in. And then last but not least, we have the Legal News Hub module. This is where Law 360 is housed. And so if you like to stay current on your particular practice area or what's going on in your particular jurisdiction, then this is a great tool to use. You can even set up newsletters in here, so that way you're getting the most current news sent to your email. Now we're going to start off in legal research, and you'll notice that for the most part, the homepage still looks very similar. The background is different, and if you prefer a lighter background, you can make your background lighter by clicking on the sun icon. So you still have your main search box. You have your pre-filter options. If I scroll down below, you still have your explore box where you can start your research in different content types. And if you were familiar with using Get and Print or Brief Check, any of the other tools that were prior on the traditional Lexis research database, all those tools are going to be here within the tool menu. And then I should also mention that if you do international law, we do have an international tab. And here you can click on the applicable countries where you're looking to do research. You can see a more exhaustive list by clicking on View All Countries and Regions right here. Now, in terms of some new analytics with searching, let me put in an example search query. You'll notice that I have a legal phrase suggestion right here. And I'm going to go ahead and select my applicable jurisdictions, which for this example, I'm going to select New York and Delaware. And I'm going to run the search. On this particular search, something that I want to point out that was carried over from Lexis to Lexis Plus is what is called search terms map. So you'll notice up here at the top, insolvency is in green, bankruptcy is in blue. Now, the reason why these are in different colors is because you can now preview your terms within your cases before ever clicking on the case itself. If you come over here to search within results, and let's say you add another term in here, it will highlight that additional term in a different color. That way you can make sure your case law is on point before actually clicking on the case and then reading it. Something that has also been built into the searching capability is the include-exclude filter. So oftentimes when you start your case law research, you put in a search query and it appears on the surface that the cases are on point, but once you start to actually dig into your cases, you'll notice that there's a term in your cases that seems to take the case out of the context that you need. Now, instead of having to rerun the search from scratch, you can just come back out to your results page, go to search within results, select exclude, and you can type that term in here, and then it will go through your results and find all the cases that don't mention that term. On the latter, you still have the ability to include terms. Once you run a search, you'll just want to select include. Another feature that Lexis Plus has is called Lexis Answers. And so what this allows you to do is ask the system a question, and when you run your search, it will bring you to a list of answers first before you preview your case law. And so for this example, let me just go ahead and put in a question. So if I were to put in what is the definition of insolvency, you'll notice that as I'm typing that out, it's giving me suggested questions below. So if I wanted to get what is the definition of insolvency of corporation, I can click on that question. As mentioned a few seconds ago, this is going to bring us to answers, and this is going to be case law answers. And if I scroll down, you'll notice that the second case is actually from the Delaware Chancery Court, and it's got that answer right here for us. And then once you scroll past the answers, you're then brought to your traditional case law results. Now, in terms of statutes, something that we've added to statutes is what's called code compare. And so let's say you have the citation of your statute. I'm actually just putting in the citation for the application for use of trademark. Okay, so once you are within your statute, you'll notice that there's this big button on the side that says compare versions. And when you click on that button, what this will allow you to do is to pull up the different date versions of a statute and compare them. And so I can see this one had changes as recent as a day apart from each other from last year. And I can see right here that there's been 3 additions and 1 deletion. And there's 2 ways that you can view your changes. The first view is side-by-side view. So here we have December 27th of last year compared against December 26th of last year. Here on the side, we have what's called a heat bar. And so this will allow you to quickly go to those changes. This 1 deletion seems to just be more of a clerical correction. If I go down to where this green heat bar is, I can see that an entire paragraph has been added between December 27th and December 26th. And here's that language right here. Now, if you prefer to see your changes on 1 page, then you can click on overlay view. And so now we have one page. That heat bar is still here on the side. And now you can review your changes in this manner. So that is code compare. And if you have to do any type of statutory based research based on changes, as you can see, that will save you a lot of time because it does that work for you in a couple of seconds. And I also want to point out that Lexis Plus still allows you to create alerts. So if you're working with a case or statute and you notice it's pending, such as this, for example, not only can you click on the pending legislation link, and this will take you to a page that shows all the bills that will be changing this particular statute, but you can also, as mentioned a few seconds ago, create an alert on this. So you'll notice that the alert is housed in this bell icon. And if I click on this icon, this will open up a small little menu for us. So if I want to add notes, I can throw in descriptions, or I can add my notes in the description box right here. I can assign this to a client if I want to. It's already monitoring for any pending legislation. Under deliver, I can set up the duration of this alert, how I want to be notified. If you do online only, then you'll have to sign online to Lexis Plus to then find out that there's been changes. Or you can select email and online. Just make sure you are putting in your Benesch email address. And then next we have share. So if you want to share this with any person in the firm, once again, you want to put in their Benesch email address, hit add to share, create the alert. The alert will now appear within their ID on Lexis Plus. And then your alerts are going to be housed up here at the top, once again, by this bell icon. Now let's touch base on practical guidance. So as mentioned earlier, practical guidance is a really great tool if you're a transaction-based attorney, or if you want to look up guidance on a particular topic or task in the area of law that you practice in. Now there's a couple of ways of how you can search in here. Once again, you have your search box. You can put any search query in here, but keep in mind it will only search within the practical guidance content types. You also have your pre-filtering options here. The second way of searching is to scroll down to the practice areas box. So this will list the practice areas that we have practical guidance on. If I were to do labor and employment as this example, now we're in the labor and employment page. Once again, you have your search box if you only want to search within labor and employment. The second way is to come down to topics and tasks. And while I mentioned that this is a great tool for transaction-based attorneys, this is also great for litigators as well, because we do have content in here, such as employment litigation right here. And so now what I'm going to click on is employment policies. And so if you were working on an employment policy matter, you'll notice that you've got different practice notes. A lot of these practice notes are drafting tips. You also have templates, which these are going to be model forms. And so for this example, let me actually hit view all under templates. And then I'm going to scroll down so I can get to my filtering options within templates. And I'm going to select Illinois as the jurisdiction. And then let's say if you were looking for a background check policy, you can click on that option. And so for this particular template, you do have the ability to download it into Word format. You're also going to receive drafting notes. So if this is a form that you've never drafted before, the great thing about the drafting notes is that it will allow you to understand why a particular clause is within this sample template. So this is just an example of the types of templates that you can find. Next, if I go to practice notes, let me just jump back out. You'll notice that, if I were to go to the employee handbook resource kit, which anytime you see resource kit and it's on a topic that you're interested in, I always encourage people to click on this because it will actually house all of your documents within one page for you. And so in this particular resource kit, there are 6 practice notes and there's over 400 forms, clauses, and checklists. So if you're new to an area of law, I really, really encourage resource kits. And so these are written out in a manner to get you up to speed on the particular topic and task. You'll notice that all your supporting documents, they are permalinks. That way you can click on them and it takes you straight out into the content type. The resource kits are broken down by all the different jurisdictions. And so this is just an example of a resource kit that you might encounter. If you want to access all the resource kits, you can do that. There's a resource kits box right here. If you hit view all, you would then just use the filtering options to get to the particular jurisdiction or area of law that you're interested in. And then next, let's talk about state law comparison tool. So state law comparison tool is great if you're looking for the primary law on a particular topic and task within your applicable practice area. This is good for transaction-based attorneys as well as litigators, because if you're in a time crunch or if you don't normally do traditional legal research, this can help you very quickly. And so for this example, I'm going to select corporate and M&A. And then I'm going to select the applicable topic, which I'm going to do corporation mergers. And then these are the jurisdictions that I can click on to get that primary law very quick. And so for this example, I'm going to click on Delaware and New York, hit continue. If I scroll further down, these are a list of all the questions that I can get answered by Lexis Plus. So I can either manually select which questions, or I can select all. Hit download report. I can select the format of my choosing. I'll do PDF. And here's what an example report looks like. So you are first brought to your table of contents where you have all your questions that you requested to be answered, the page number, as well as the applicable jurisdictions. Once you get past the table of contents, you're brought into your actual answers. So here you have your first question, you've got the 2 applicable jurisdictions, and then you've got hyperlinks out to the primary law if you want to see it in full context. And so that is state law comparison tool. And once again, that is going to just be housed within practical guidance. And there are additional tools and resources within this box. Now with litigation analytics, this is a great tool if you practice in trial courts in the United States, or if you practice in the federal district courts. Now this does not contain appellate or Supreme Court, and we are pulling a lot of this information from civil dockets. This does not pull criminal dockets. And so what this allows you to do is you can get analytics on courts, judges, attorneys, or law firms. If you type in the name of any of those entities in the search box, it searches one entity at a time. If you want to compare multiple entities at one time, you can do that by clicking compare courts and judges, or by clicking compare counsel. Now for this example, I'm just going to type in the name of the law firm. And if I scroll down, I can see the hit right here. And so within the law firm analytics, it breaks it down by federal and state. Within the federal tab, you've got your cases by type. And if you click on the hyperlinks of any of these, this will take you out to Lex Machina. which is another analytics tool that breaks down your data. If I scroll further down, this will break down your cases filed by year. This will give you the top courts, the top clients by open cases, the main party that the firm is representing, and then you have the different motions where you can see how long it generally takes. For example, you have motion to dismiss right here. It looks like the earliest these types of motions are decided on is 288 days. And so this just gives you a day timeline. That way you'll know how much money or time will go into these different types of motions. You also have trial duration, and then you have damages. If I click on state, this will break down the different courts within the different states where the firm has activity. And then it just pretty much provides other analytics based on the state courts. If you have any information, or if you have any questions about the data within litigation analytics, there is a link here called Learn More About This Data. And this will break down where we're pulling from, which counties within which states. So this link is very helpful, and I do encourage you to click on it if you have any questions. Next, we have brief analysis. This is where you can upload one brief at a time or multiple briefs at a time when you're looking for case law recommendations based off the language in your brief. For this example, I'm going to upload a single brief. I should also mention that you can upload PDFs in here. It will convert it for you. And it only takes a couple of seconds for the system to scan your language, and anything you upload to the system stays confidential to your ID. So once you've uploaded your brief, you have your dashboard that breaks down on a high-level overview the services that brief analysis has performed for you. Let's jump into recommendations. So here we have our heat map once again. And I can click on the heat map to get to the different paragraphs where recommendations have been provided. If I click on, for example, this 23 recommendations, I can see 10 of those recommendations are based off of case law with the relevant passage recommendation from the cases. You're also getting recommendations from practical guidance as well as treatises. If you're not looking to reinvent the wheel, you can also access similar briefs based off the language in the brief you uploaded. You can also access all the citations mentioned in your document. So if you want to print, email, or download all the citations that were mentioned in the brief you uploaded, you can do that under this tab. And then you also have quote check. So if you want to make sure that the language was cited to properly, quote check not only tells you if it's incorrect, but it also provides you with the correct language. So that is brief analysis. Now with Legal News Hub, the firm does subscribe to Law 360. So if you want to set up newsletters on your particular jurisdiction or your particular practice area, you can do that. All you would need to do is click on the applicable practice area, hit subscribe to newsletter, and now you'll start getting your legal news content sent via email. The firm also recently subscribed to Law 360 Pulse. You can access that by clicking on the More tab up here at the top. I believe it will be accessible in April. And this is really great if you're looking for business development type news. And then you also have access to Law 360 Tax Authority. So if you are interested in tax coverage, the best way to access that content is to just go back out to the legal research tab. Just simply type in Law 360 Tax Authority. You'll notice that it breaks it down by federal, international, and state and local. And if I were to click on, let's say, state and local as an example, this will bring me out to an advanced search page. But If I want to access all of the news articles and then sift through it, what I recommend doing is clicking on these three dots. And then you'll see an option where it says get all documents for this source. And now you can use your filtering options to narrow by jurisdiction. You can plug in any terms in here to sift through this news. And another cool thing you can do with our news publications is you can create alerts on them. So if you want to track a particular entity, maybe a person or a corporation, once you've narrowed the search down with the filters, create that alert, and then your due diligence is taken care of. And so now, if you do have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself. And I don't see any questions in the chat. Well, I want to be respectful of your guys' time. And with that being said, I want to thank you again for coming out for this webinar session on Lexis Plus. I will send you guys a follow-up email and you guys will be getting those Amazon gift cards. So with that, thank you guys very much. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Whitley.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining.